Welcome back. You are watching Nation Tonight. Now, putting focus on Chandigarh, the UT is setting a precedent. It has put people and their money first. The Punjab Governor has banned IAS officers stay in star hotels. He's also prohibited their air travel on the tour to Delhi. Governor Purohit, in a stern message, has asked the officers part of Chandigarh Administration to act responsibly, saying that it is their moral duty that public money shouldn't be squandered with. Basically, the governor is saying that public money should be used only for public good. Now, these babus will have to travel on trains and stay in government guest houses in the national capital during their official tour. The governor has acted after an Indian Express report came to light. Earlier, Indian Express had reported about Chandigarh babus squandering money, mostly for travel to Delhi. Let me take this conversation forward with Professor Sriram Khanna, who is, of course, Managing Editor, Consumer Voice magazine. Professor Khanna, thank you very much for joining us here on Mirror Now. Great to see you once again back on the show. As we speak about this development, clearly there's no VVIP treatment for babus, in a sense also setting a precedent. It has put people and their money first. What is your first take about that?
Well, it is welcome to economize on public funds and not squander them. But I think the rules of the Government of India are uniform for all central government employees. And particularly Chandigarh is a UT, so central government rules on TA and DA are applicable. Why should there be different rules for Chandigarh as compared to the rest of the country is the question I would like to ask the governor. Every visit of a government servant from his place of stationing to another place, it has to be justified on file and approved by the superior. And the expenditure taking place for travel and stay, etc., is subject to TA and DA rules that are uniform throughout the country. So are there different rules for Chandigarh UT? I don't think so. I think Mr. Banwarilal Purohit is doing some showmanship. He's playing to the gallery. Today there is a news in the newspapers and he will say, I'll do this, as if he is the only do-gooder. There are government officials sitting in the administration. The senior officials should know how to save money, which trip is essential for government business and which is disguised as an official trip meant for personal purposes. So there should be more scrutiny of each trip rather than say that nobody will stay in a hotel. You know, the capacities of the state guest houses in Delhi is quite limited. And it is not always that this accommodation is available. If it is available and if it is according to the class in which they are classified as a government officer and they are entitled to it, they do it. But you cannot expect a government officer to stay in an accommodation which is lower than their entitlement. Why should they? They have entitlements and those entitlements must be honored. If somebody is entitled to travel by air, you let him travel by air. What's your problem? If the rule says so, he should be. Why should the man in Delhi be subject to one set of rules and the man in Chandigarh to another? Therefore, it's a question of equal protection of the law for everybody. Rules are actually mandatory, TA and DA rules, and these are financial rules. And they are subject to audit. So rather than Mr. Purohit saying nobody will stay in a hotel, he should give directions to the senior bureaucrats that they should review every trip made on file and curtail the number of trips to only what is most essential. And not allow trips which are not essential. For essential government business, government employees have to go. They must go. And they must have the comforts. Why should they face discomfort? Why? Does Mr. Banwarilal Purohit follow the same rules himself? If he wants to follow those rules, let him set example and tell them, look, every time I am going to Delhi, I am not staying in a hotel, I am going in the Punjab Bhavan. I am not traveling by air in a business class which I am entitled to. I am traveling by Vande Mataram. So, you should follow me. Let him set by example. Merely by passing an order, I think it is like playing to the gallery. आज अखबार में छपा, आपने अपना बयान दे दिया. इस तरह government नहीं चलती. You have to be serious. And a governor is not a politician. He should be more reasonable and more mature in whatever he says and does. That is my reaction, madam.
Professor Khanna, as you
Yes.
pointed out, you're of course going on to state that there should be equal law. There are no two steps of rules as well. But just to draw your perspective and also, talk about the fact that what is stated in that, where he has said that as responsible officers, it is our moral duty that public money shouldn't be squandered and wasteful expenditure shouldn't be accepted at any cost. On those lines, do you think that this is some sort of an example that is being set?
Look, I do not know on what information and basis the Honorable Governor is saying all these things. But tell me, there are hundreds and thousands of government officers in similar situations working in each ministry of the central government. They are posted in different states as well. There are undertakings of the government to which such rules are applicable. It is normally expected that no money should, or public money should be wasted. What is different in what he is saying? If he believes some money was wasted, then let him recall the bills and find that they were fraudulent or they were excessive or not according to rules and recover the money from the employees. That is the way to do it. Without doing your homework, you want to sermonize, you should do this, you should do that. अरे भाई, जितने बिल उन्होंने सबमिट करे हैं, इसमें कोई गलत बिल हैं, या एक्सेसिव हैं, या अनजस्टिफाइड हैं, तो उसको बिल को अब बोलो हम रिकवर करेंगे तुमसे, तुमने गलत पैसे लिए हमसे, and let there be an audit and let the money be recovered from officers. तब तो बात समझ में आती है. But making speeches is not the way to set standards. You set standards by action, by doing, by walking the talk, and not by making reactions to newspaper stories. I'm sure some enterprising journalists must have digged out the travel bills and made out a story. उसकी तो रोटी रोजी है. वो नई स्टोरी नहीं लाएगा, उसको एडिटर बोलेगा why do I need you? तो वो तो मजबूरी में अपनी स्टोरी कर ही रहा है. परंतु you have to be responsible in public behavior. हाँ, अगर if some government officer has abused his position,
Right.
punish him. Have you punished anybody? Or you are just making blank statements and saying from tomorrow you will not do this. So I think the governor should introspect himself. Thank you.
Right, Professor Khanna, on that note, we leave that conversation at that. But thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us here on Mirror Now and sharing with us your perspective. For now, we shift our focus to the other development that we're tracking.